Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Brennan.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
How was your week?
Man, my week was good, busy as always, but made a good impact.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good, good, good on you.
Huh?
I said good on you. Way to
Yeah.
make an impact.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think last time we talked, we got into a bit of why speaking is important to you and how you've been able to speak specifically as it relates to your experience in finance and actually teaching people about like why finance is important. Like, did you have a chance to do anything with that this week?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's something that I'm always doing, but one of the things that I was able to do this week is, work with some people to get us out of the mindset of that you have to do everything by yourself.
Mm.
We have a lot of creative people, a lot of people that are trying to do big things in business. And, everybody feels like they have to do their own thing. And I was just, working with some people and saying, why can't you all bring your strengths together?
Mm.
Some of our most successful times in history was when we had our own stuff, when we had our own stores and doctor's offices and
Mhm.
everything in our own communities. It's like, people forget about those times, when we did work together and the only option we had was to support the things that we opened, you
Right.
know. And I was just working with some people, on that concept of, you know, I know there's going to be a variety, but the more we work together, the bigger things could be, you
Mm.
know.
Right.
And people bringing their strengths together, people pooling their finances together, people, putting their credit together to be able to, have more impact in different industries. Because there's a lot of industries that we basically have no control over at all, like the
Mm.
production of food,
Mm.
all of these different things. It's like the system pretty much has us in a chokehold when it comes to those specific things. So, you know, and I'm working with some people that are, that are doing some other things, buying land, starting farms and different things like that. But
Yeah.
I think that's an important element that we're missing when it comes to economics and finances in our community.
Would you say that that's the food production or the working together specifically?
Both of them,
Gotcha.
definitely food production,
Yeah.
food production, land ownership, all of those things, because I believe that it's going to be a time when those things are needed.
Mm.
The way things are going, it's already being reports of food shortages and
Yeah.
factories exploding, all these types of things that are going on. And it's like, when you don't have your hand in any of those things,
Mhm.
it's easily to end up in a situation where you have no control, pretty
Yeah.
much. So, it's important to start expanding into those industries and, you know, and not just as businesses, but even yourself, trying to grow something
Right.
if you can, grow some fruit, grow some vegetables, to start doing those types of things so that if things ever go haywire, you can have something,
Right.
you know?
Right. And that's not too far fetched. I mean, the pandemic kind of showed us that for a lot because it's a friend of mine recently, he did a an event basically bringing farmers together, black farmers in, I think it's Memphis or Nashville, or it might be
Mhm.
Clarksville, kind of neither of those, but around the Tennessee area. But basically,
Yeah.
bringing farmers together in an area that's a supposed food desert, just because there isn't that corporation or industry, but it's in connecting the dots, connecting with people locally and saying, hey, like, this is an idea I have. I think your services would be needed here. And not just, hey, do this on the, what do they call it, on the homie discount. But no, it's like you show
Yeah.
up with what you have, and people that are here in need of your services will come out buy from you and know that, okay, here's where you're at, here's where you're established. And people that own food trucks, I believe they showed up to the event and they participated, like they sold their foods, and they're also like, okay, I can get produce from these farmers, I can do business here. And instead of operating in a silo per se, it's that just remembering that you're like one relationship away from being able to change your life and actually open your mind to the possibility of, okay, there's more than what I was told is really going on in life.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
curious.
and I definitely think that's I think that's a key.
Mhm.
And I think we live in an era where a lot of the times we look at the system to change our circumstance instead of looking at our own spending power,
Right.
and looking at the things that we have supported, look
Mhm.
at the impact that is made.
Right.
And that, those impacts can be repeated over and over and over if we just continue to create and support each other.
Mhm.
And I think, sometimes that can kind of get lost, kind of in the rat race of the way things are designed. But,
Mhm.
the reality is we have so much untapped power, so many untapped resources, that we aren't taking advantage of as much as we possibly could.
I guess, how was that message received when you shared it with people? Because I would think it's maybe not something they haven't heard before, but like, how are they encouraged to take action?
Some people are encouraged to take action, but some people give pushback,
Mm.
because some people can't see beyond where we are currently,
Right.
But I'm thankful for those that are open minded and that are willing to take some of those steps and to, at least take the time to start looking at things differently and thinking differently,
Right.
and to, start making some different decisions, even small things, like there's some things that I do on purpose, like that I make it a purpose every week to at least like support some black owned business. Like,
Mhm.
I've made little small shifts in, like, I started I found a black owned company that makes detergent to wash your clothes.
Mm.
Making those small little shifts and giving a little bit of grace, because being an entrepreneur, I understand that sometimes when you're starting off, if a black owned business is making detergent, naturally it's probably going to be more expensive than what's being mass produced by a huge corporation.
Right.
You get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like, we have this mindset that you know, when it's one of our own people, it's the mindset of, oh, well, you automatically have to match what
Right.
I'm
Right.
purchasing from this huge corporation that's been around for 100 years and you just started.
Right.
Like, so, being an entrepreneur myself, I understand that, starting out, you're not mass producing. So the cost of your products is probably the cost of your production is probably going to be higher than some big major corporation like Johnson and Johnson. So
Right.
your product may be a little bit more, but those are the sacrifices that we have to make. And as we continue to make those sacrifices, eventually, if it's mass produced enough, the price may be able to come down a little bit. But, those are the things that we have, that we've got to start doing more and more. And I do think we're moving in the right direction. I
Mhm.
think we're moving in the right direction as more information continues to go out there, as people continue to create different things and start to, get into different industries. I
Mhm.
think we just have to stay focused and, continue to support.
Gotcha. I guess I kind of skipped by it, but maybe reintroduce yourself to the people and let them know, like, why is this personal to you?
Okay. Well, again, I am Brenon Robbins, entrepreneur, speaker, been working in the finance industry and speaking industry for about 15 years. I'm also a mental health professional as well. And it's important to me because, I want us to, I want people to be able to take control of their circumstances and not be totally 100% dependent on the system, just because of the simple fact we saw during the pandemic what that can lead to. When you're told, hey, you can't go to this place, you can't go to that place, you can only go to the store at a certain time. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
When you're totally dependent on the system, you can only do what they tell you to do when that time comes.
Yeah.
So, it's important for us to, be able to have some control over our own circumstances. And even when things are going good,
Mm.
even when things are going good, it's good to have your own. Like I said again, some of our most successful times in history, which like right after slavery, you know
Mm.
what I'm saying? When we didn't have any other option than to support each other, we had our own everything,
Yeah.
and it's like we can complain all day about the way things are, but when you have an opportunity to have your own, some of the responsibility is going to fall back on you. So, those are the things that I think are important for us to realize and important for us to, start to build and grow on even more. Because, like I said, I think we are moving in the right direction. We are doing more things.
Mhm.
You know, we're seeing people work together and start businesses, but we just need more of it. We just
Yeah.
need to continue to expand it and continue to support it on purpose, like not by chance, but
Right.
like just make a decision. Hey, I'm going to support this thing,
Yeah.
And I think you got to also look at sometimes, and I've had conversations with people where it's like, oh, well, I tried to support this black owned business, but I didn't get good service or this didn't go right. And I'm always like, well, you only tried one and then you stopped.
Mm.
Like there's multiple. It's no
Yeah.
different than any other place. If you don't like one store, go to another. If you don't like the food there, go to another. Like you don't stop
Right.
just
Right.
because you didn't get good service or just because something may be out of your price range. One
Mm.
place may be more expensive than the other.
Right.
The same way we support this system, whether it's luxury brands or the dollar store, we're still going in there. We're everybody at every level is spending some money somewhere. And I
Right.
think we need to apply that same principle when it comes to black owned businesses as well.
What's one way that you've been able to see opportunity, like this past weekend, for yourself, being able to shift your mindset in, okay, am I doing charity, so to speak, or am I trying to actually partner in a sense and make this thing work? Like, it's good to talk about the good in history and the bad. I guess so many people focus on the bad to where it's like you forget that despite so many things, good actually came out of it. And people that are, I don't know if it's like the Nation of Islam, but like, or churches being started, historically black colleges, different things like that. It may not be getting funded or positive attention, but it's like positive things do come out of that. And good principled people like yourself, like a father, a husband, like someone that has character about them where you don't just get clowned for not being cool or not looking it. It's like you got your Fresh Prince shirt on. It's like props to you. But um what's one way that you've learned to see opportunity this past week or even today? Like how how have you learned to look for opportunity?
How have I learned to look for opportunity? Just being open minded. I mean, just being open minded and being willing to accept thoughts that are outside of the box and be able to think outside of the box myself.
Mm.
Um, you know, and that started back, when I was a teenager, to be honest, just even how I even got into investing and stuff like that. It was just being able to say, you know what? I hear this person talking about this investing thing. I'm going to start small and see how it works.
Mhm.
I could have easily listened to, the people around me that were afraid of it,
Right.
that said, "Oh no, I would never do that because I don't want to lose money."
Mhm.
I heard one idea that made sense to me. Probably 10 or 12 people told me I shouldn't do it because of their fear.
Right.
But I was like, okay, What is it going to hurt for me to try?
Yeah.
And I did and became successful at it,
Yeah.
And not that I haven't had losses along the way, but I learned that you're losing if you don't participate.
Mm.
Not participating is just the equivalent of losing when it's like millions of people out there having their money grow and work for them.
Right.
And especially when the cost of goods and services is constantly increasing, you know, if you got $20,000 sitting in a savings account and it's not growing, but the cost of milk is up
Mhm.
8%, 3%, you lost.
Yeah.
When if you're in the market or not just stock market, anything, if you have your money in anything that's growing, it
Mhm.
allows you to be able to keep up with the rate that prices are increasing. The cost of gas is increasing. Everything is going up except the value of your dollar. And that's a
Mhm.
dangerous position to be in
Right.
because you know most people have a fixed rate of income.
Mm.
The majority of people, you have a job, you have a 9 to 5, you're getting paid a specific amount per hour or a specific salary per year.
Mhm.
There's really no room for growth unless you're doing something outside of that to make your money grow. Unless you're investing in some type of business or doing some type of side hustle or putting your money into something that's making it multiply. If you're not doing those things, you're losing at the end of the day because your purchasing power is going down as the cost of things go up. And
Right.
it's just that simple.
It makes sense. And I guess with that, I like the suggestion to be open because you don't know what you don't know.
You
And
don't know, don't know. Yeah.
right. And at the same time, you have to be shrewd in a way. Like I think it says like you have to be shrewd like a snake and soft like a dove at times where like how have you been able to keep from repeating the same mistake because it's that people having mistrust or not wanting to partner with other people that's like okay quality control isn't that good or this person they talk a lot about having these ideas but then when it's time to execute it's like okay if I work with you one time two times three times four times five times it's like at what point do you like at what point do you hold someone else to have a level of standard to say okay I get it we're starting out like I'll be here I'll show up it's like I don't think it's too much to ask for someone to be nice like be kind. Like, don't treat your customers like crap. If it's, I guess it's the culture in Coney Island or in Louisiana where it's like you show up, people are like pissed that you're asking them to buy something. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
maybe I take my business elsewhere. If you go to
Yeah.
McDonald's or if you go to like um, Popeyes or some like certain places, it just seems like it's either a part of the culture or it's just part of the environment. If you're with it, you're with it. If you're not with it, it's like, hey, just go on over there, go across the street and go go where you're celebrated and not tolerated, where someone's like, I can't stand people coming in here trying to buy stuff from me. It's like for this business I started. And it's like,
Yeah.
why'd you start a business if that's gonna be like your attitude?
Right, right, right. And you know what? Some that is the vibe you get sometimes with some business owners. But at the same time, that's the vibe you get sometimes with some major companies.
Yeah.
Like most people know that if they go into let's say Walmart, they're not going to get the same level of customer service they would get in Publix.
Right.
You're not going to get the same customer service at McDonald's that you're going to get at Chick-fil-A. Like
Right.
they built their brand off of specific ways of doing business, and that's just the reality. And we got to give that same understanding to those in our community, And you got to realize too. And one other thing I've realized is that some people are they may be a master at what they do, but they may not be a master at the business aspect of it. Someone may start a restaurant because they're an amazing cook,
Yeah.
but they might not be a people person. That
Mhm.
don't mean they're not gonna have good food. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and as a business owner, that's where the collective comes in at. That's where the working together. Okay, yeah, I'm not the people person, so I need to be in the back cooking the food, but I need to get somebody with a bubbly personality to be out front.
Right.
I need somebody that's good with numbers to manage the finances. Like
Right.
those are the things that you got to put together. But you also got to understand, and this is one of the challenges of when you're doing things by yourself. Sometimes you got to be everything when you start out.
Mm.
You may not have the resources because you may start your restaurant as the dude, selling barbecue on the side of the road. So
Yeah.
you are the customer service, you are taking the money, you are cooking the food, you're doing everything. So, and that can be challenging, that can be stressful. A lot of things come with that.
Mm.
So, and that's what I'm saying, as far as like, we got to give a little grace, while at the same time there is a standard,
Right. Right.
and we
It's
got to
like
be
you're
able
not just
to.
picking up slop. It's like, come on, like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna eat that.
exactly, exactly. And again, and like I said, if you don't like it, my whole thing is, it's some places that you're not gonna like. Just
Right.
because it's a black owned business, it don't mean I'm gonna like it. But at the
Right.
same time, I'm gonna go to another one.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. I'm gonna go to another one. I'm gonna find something that I like. I'm gonna find something in my price range, just like I do with anything else.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
I think to your point, it's sometimes I think being grouped together can be a hindrance, and it's an opportunity. It can be both a hindrance and an opportunity, because it's like someone can make the mistake of, oh, I had this experience with a black business, so now all black businesses are like this. Like, no, not all black businesses are like that. Not all white,
Right.
not all Hispanic, not all Asian, Dominican, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, like whatever it is. And it's like, it's a thing that I've had to like continue telling my, like I've tried to tell other people, but it's like I tell myself to say, hey, like regardless of what you're being told, regardless of whatever the culture is, whatever the system is, it's like all systems, however they got there, are run by people. There are
Yeah.
bad people, there are good people, there are people that could care less about you. But it's like, if someone actually knows your heart, if they get to know you, the person, the individual, like what you're about, what you're like, someone's more than likely to develop a relationship with that. And I think some people kind of go around always pissed at the world. Not to say that like nothing bad has happened, but it's like to wake up day in and day out and just be that the world owes me something, the world's not doing anything for me. It's that it limits the opportunities that you can have. And yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that handout mentality and thinking about somebody owes you something, it's a dangerous place to be in, so I agree with you there 100%. But yeah, I mean, we're innocent. You gotta work for your support as well. You gotta present a good product,
Yeah.
at minimum. Like I
Yeah.
said, in some cases, we can be customer service part, that can be questionable. But if you got a good product, I might be willing to deal with, some customer service issues from time to time. You know,
I'm not.
sometimes.
I'm not.
Right,
It's like,
right,
if you're, for me, I guess I might be on the flip side, where it's like if your customer service is good and your product isn't so good, that in that sense I'll be like, okay, like you're trying. Like
yeah,
you like, because for me it's coming from the background of like being around a whole bunch of smart people or self-proclaimed smart people. The number one thing that people can't stand about people that are quote unquote smart is that they know they're smart and they don't think they have to humble themselves or like interact with common folks, so to say. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, like go save the world or whatever, but you're going to be the only one living in it. So it's like, if you make this bomb invention or bomb food, but your personality sucks, like I'm kind of worried about what you're putting in my food. Like
That's true.
that's one of the things that's got me like people say, okay, you don't have to be a mathematician to necessarily run a business, or if you're not strong in it, I think it's right to partner with someone. But I think too many times there are too many, we're allowed to make too many concessions or reasons for why we cannot be good at something. It's like you
Yeah.
may not be good at something, but it's like to limit yourself and to be like, I was never good at this, or I'll never be this. It's like, then why are you even trying? Like, why let your body breathe the air that it breathes? It's like you don't control that, but it's like you shouldn't, you can't, you don't know what the limit is. Like, of course, like where someone lives, it kind of informs you on where you are. And it, back to your first point, it helps to meet someone else and to be careful in meeting other people, because it's like some people don't have good intentions, but still, to your point, it's like you have to try and discover while still keeping yourself in a place of, I'm not just put myself in a place to just be, okay, this person took advantage, okay, that person took advantage. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
like let me go to a different store.
Yeah. And I think, what you said and what I just said is a great example. When it comes to consumers, different people value different things. There are places that I go, I'm going for the experience. I'm looking for great customer service. I'm looking for the ambiance. I'm looking for the experience.
Mm,
But there are some places that I go that I know the customer service experience isn't going to be great, but what I'm getting, I just like it that much.
mm,
So I'm going to
gotcha.
go back and get it. Like I tried this Jamaican restaurant the other day, yesterday actually.
Mm,
And when I went in there, they had signs up on the wall, if it gets busy, please excuse us. It could be up to an hour wait. So I kind of set the expectation. Okay,
mm,
I might have a wait, you know. But if I wait and the food is not good, I'm
mm.
not coming back. But if I wait and the food is amazing, I'll be back.
Right,
I'll just do a phone order next time,
right,
or
right.
order on DoorDash and pick up.
Hey, but
But
somebody thought to give you a heads up, like, hey, we know we
exactly,
get busy, and we gotta pivot a little bit.
yeah, yeah, because the place I went to actually, I think they had like a product that they make. It kind of like went viral on TikTok. So it was, it's popular. So they had an influx of people coming to get this thing. So,
Gotcha.
they had to, set the expectation of, hey, if we got a line out the door, please expect that it could be up to an hour wait for your food. So, it kind of set the expectation. And at that point,
Mm,
when you see that on the wall multiple places, it's like, okay, I'm either gonna order and wait, or if I don't have an hour to wait, I may just leave.
right.
But again, like I said, different consumers value different things. I will wait for something that I know is good.
Mm, that's a
So
good point.
yeah,
That's a great point. And I think, to your point, that's why it's, in meeting other people, you have to, it helps to like actually hear what someone else values and
right.
like respect that, in a sense, because it's like I could stay stuck on, this is what I want, and if you don't want what I want, we can't be friends. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay, what are we talking about? It's like, you can get food from that place, I can get food from that place, and we can either meet in the middle, or I can bring my food over here, and like you can still eat. It's
yeah,
it
yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be like so defined, like don't play in my sandbox type thing.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's one thing, as especially as business owners, you gotta understand everybody's not going to be your customer,
Mm,
but those that are, you gotta serve them well. Like you gotta
right,
give them what they expect, like flat
right,
out.
right.
You gotta give them at minimum what they expect, and if you want to do really good, go beyond expectations.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And you want to be able to focus on your target group and maximize that as much as you possibly can.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense. It's funny. I was looking at this book. I think it's Starting a Business for Dummies,
Yeah,
and it's funny with the whoever came up with this book series, how they simplify things to the basics of what you need, and giving you that piecemeal by piecemeal, and you're always free to pick and choose what you want, but they always have that concept where everyone speaks about the concept of niching down. And I think we talked about it last time, where it's in speaking and choosing to do finance and choosing to go into the mental health space, is that, okay, this is something I like, this is something I think I can do, and let me put my attention here because I know I can serve this specific group of people and be
Mhm.
helpful in that way and get a return on it. I
Yeah,
think that's a great point.
yeah, yeah. And I think one of the things that also pushed me into some of these spaces is that, growing up and going to school and realizing all of the things that I didn't know. Like I finished high school with a pretty good grade point average, went to college, graduated college, and then you find out, man, I've been through all of this so-called education, and I don't know any of these things that are essential to life.
Right.
And that's one of the things that inspired me the most. Like I can give you an example. Like when I went through the process of buying my first house,
Mhm.
you know, I found the house, the realtor was like, yeah, if you want the house, I can put an offer in. I just need a check for your earnest money. And I'm sitting there and I was like, who is Ernest? I was clueless. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like, how is it that we go through school and we don't know these things that are valuable to, like, things that we actually need to know about finance, like how to purchase
Right.
a house, like what is it required to purchase a house? What is it required to purchase a car? And it's like it makes no sense for us to not have this information. So
Yeah.
it's like the more I learn, the more I want other people to know, because I don't want anybody to be in that position where you're going through a process of something and you're doing it because you know that's what you're supposed to do, but you really have absolutely no knowledge of the process. Like, and
Right.
it's easy to be taken advantage of that way.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
easy to be taken advantage of when you're doing something because, hey, this is what the system tells you you should do, this is the way you do it, this is the American dream, but
Mhm.
yet you don't have any knowledge about the steps. You don't know, you have no knowledge about what people typically pay for earnest money, or how much people usually put down on the down payment, or what's a good interest rate,
Right.
what's a good amount for homeowners insurance.
Mhm.
All of these things that you would think you would be taught in an education system, but you can go all the way and get a master's degree and have absolutely none of that information at
Right.
all.
Even a
So,
PhD.
right, even a PhD, you know. So, though that's another thing that pushes me to get this information out there as much as possible and just pass along everything that I learned. Some things are complicated, but some things it's simple. We're just not taught it. Like
Right. Right.
it really just boils down to it. Something as simple as budgeting, right? Like a lot of people that I work with, when they hear the word budget, they automatically think limit.
Mhm.
It means you're limited.
Right.
But the reality is, a budget is really just knowledge. It's the knowledge of what you have coming in and what you have going out.
Right.
It's really that simple. So, if $1 billion company has a budget,
Mhm.
you should have one too. $1 billion company will sit there and say, okay, we don't want to spend more than X amount of dollars on payroll, or we don't want to spend X amount on this expense. What would it hurt you to do the same thing in your finances?
Mhm.
Just have the knowledge of, hey, how much am I spending here? Do I need to cut? Can I get some cheaper insurance? Man, that's a little bit high. It's just knowledge.
Right.
It's not putting a limit on you saying that you can't spend this or can't spend that. It's just having the knowledge of what you have coming in money wise and what you're spending money wise.
Mhm.
And that puts you in more of a power position to be able to make decisions, because you can't change what you don't know.
Mhm.
And one of the times when in life when I was struggling financially, it was simply because I didn't know.
Right.
I'm spending money, paying bills, working, working, working. I'm coming up short and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Right. until I actually sat down and say, okay, well, how much? This is how much I'm paying for rent. This is how much I'm paying for my car. This is my car insurance. This is this. It's like, oh, I only have a $200 shortage. I can figure out a way to make an extra $200 and I'm good.
Right.
Like, but if I had just continued to go,
Mm,
getting more and more behind, what I didn't know what was hurt is what was hurting me.
mm,
Because you 9 times out of 10, you have the ability to change the situation if you just know what the problem is.
right.
And that's what a budget does for you most of the times. It gives you an idea and gives you the clear vision to say, okay, if I have a problem, this is what it is. How can I figure out how to change that problem? But
Right.
most people are going along with no knowledge, just knowing they have a problem, but
Mm,
not knowing what the problem is at all.
right. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a great point. And to your point again, going to different perspectives and having a maybe a positive understanding of limits is a good way to let you know that okay, if this is the purpose of this limit, then I know what's on the other side because it's like, okay, people that may not want limits are like, okay, hey, I get this credit card in the mail, but it's like it comes with all this writing. Oh, I'm not reading all that. They just said free money. So it's like I go,
Yeah.
I spend this money, I get this, I look good, I do this, I do that. But it's like because you didn't understand the the boundaries or the parameters or limit, whatever word we want to use, it's like everything comes with a like a cost and a benefit. Like there's a cost to everything or there's a transaction. So it's like you can't be mad for racking up thousands or hundreds of $1,000s in debt, whether it's like school, maybe the school lied to you, or maybe nobody taught you how to do research to say, okay, here's how much school costs. You can get a
Hmm.
loan that may be stuck with you for the rest of your life, and then your kids will get your loan. Or you can look into schools that do what you do at a price that's affordable. And then
Right.
once you get a job, you can actually pay that back versus like, okay, you get a loan and they say, if you don't pay this loan off month to month, we get 17% interest. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you look at, okay, do I put my money in the stock market where I can get maybe an 8% return, or do I just keep it in the bank or in the savings account, which gets me what is it 0.0001%? And
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay. But to your point, it's that it could be the thing where you get stuck at I don't really like math. I don't like fractions. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. It's like maybe you befriend that nerd that you like picked on during school and it's like, hey, can you can you help me with this and like help me figure this out. Some the math isn't mathing and
Right.
the life is just hard. But like to your point, when someone comes to you and they you can look at, okay, let's look at a budget, but you gave it the language and the proper definition to say like, hey, this is why you're not telling them, hey, this is why English matters, but this is why English matters. Like you read words to understand. Here's where you go get the information when you don't know. And now having something like the power of the internet or the power of technology, it's like you could look up the hottest song or the this or the that, but you can also look, hey, how do I do this? And literally, that is what people make how-to videos, like how to
Yeah.
clean how to clean your headlights so that you can see and they're not fogged over and you don't have to go spend however much to have someone do it, or you can spend the money to have someone do it. But like I think to your point, it's important to allow ourselves to be able to ask questions of what's going on around us to where we're not just we're doing rinse and repeat the system, the system, the system. It's like
Yeah.
question it. Like you're allowed to question, like you can be mad, you can be angry, like people are like they have emotions to be expressed, but it's like and being able to express our emotions, like let's express our minds too and like ask questions. Like something
Right.
doesn't make sense, let me ask a question, but after I ask the question, let me actually follow up with action that helps me get closer to my answer. Otherwise it's like we're just talking. If we're just blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, it's like okay, okay, like nothing changed. Like from last week to this week, like a lot's happened, but it's like I think having a conversation with you and being able to have this now, it's informing me on how I can prepare for the upcoming week. And just even today, I'm like, wow, okay. Just because someone has a different perspective doesn't mean there aren't things we can still agree on and move forward. Maybe a different path, but we're still moving forward and we can still connect. We can still partner together.
Yeah. Because everybody can bring something valuable to the table, because what what you do is going to serve somebody.
Mm.
At the end of the day, there's somebody that's going to like what you bring to the table. So yeah, that's why it's always good to, to have that open mind, to be able to, to be able to work with other people, and because you never know what you can accomplish.
Mm. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Thank you.
What what's something you're looking forward to the rest of today or this week?
The rest of the day,
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to some relaxation. I'm definitely looking forward to some relaxation. And this upcoming week, I'm excited to I'm preparing for a speaking engagement that I have coming up um in September. So
Mm.
I'm excited about, the preparation for that, and
Mm.
just getting prepared, getting myself together to to plan out how I want that to go. The planning, the videographer, everything that goes into it.
Mm.
But I'm definitely always excited about those opportunities that come up, and giving me an opportunity to continue to, you know, spread the knowledge that I've
Mhm.
acquired, the knowledge and experience that I've obtained, and to hopefully have somebody take the information that's given and execute on it.
Awesome. What's your process like getting ready for this talk coming up?
Um, my process is finding out exactly what the place that booked me needs.
Mm.
What is it that they're, the person that's organizing it looking to get out of this presentation. Getting the understanding of my audience as well, what they're, you know, whether it's kids, adults, age group, those types of things, so that I know what level to present my presentation on.
Right.
Um, and then um I go through this process that my speakers coach taught me. It's it's the reap and sow concept, which is basically, you know consuming the proper information.
Mm.
I take myself through a process where, you know I lock in on some new things, but I also lock in on things that I already know. Refresh myself, make sure I'm saying things properly, not misspeaking,
Mm.
quoting any numbers wrong, quoting any statistics wrong, those types of things. So I make sure I'm consuming that information to make sure my mind is sharp when it comes to that.
Right.
Um, and then I do myself a little outline, just give myself bullet points of things that I know that I make sure that I want to cover during the presentation. Um, and then from there, I practice
Mm.
and every day, like not just like I present the things that I'm going to speak about like in everyday conversation. Like most people don't know it, but I could be talking to a friend and bring up a point that I'm going to make in the presentation just to see how it's going to be perceived.
Mm.
I do it all the time. People have no idea what I'm doing, but that's a that's a part of my process. I present something to say, okay, did they understand where I'm coming from?
Mm.
How did that come over? And so, I'm constantly doing that as a speaker, and this that may be giving up too much information, but that's one of the
Gotcha.
things I do often in
Mhm.
conversations. Sometimes, just everyday conversation, I'm gauging, what how my information is received,
Mm.
and if it's able to be understood, if it's clear, and if it's impactful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That's like a nice Jedi mind trick, just like
Yeah,
you don't even have to like solicit the feedback, but like in in basically using what you're learning, using what you're working through, you're dropping it here and there, and you can see like, okay, where does it land? Where is it not?
yeah,
That makes sense.
absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. I listen to comedians here and there speak, and they talk about their processes a little bit, and it seems like it's that similar give and take. And I guess you can do that in real time with the audience, but especially for the specials and things like that they put on, they always have to go through a long process of trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And I would have never known that. It's like you just think, hey, this person's born this way. Every time they just open their mouth, they've got the gift of gab, and it's all just like gold, like the goose that lays the golden egg. And it's just like boom, 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 hot record, hit record. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
life doesn't
yeah.
work
Because
like that.
sometimes, man, they work their set for like a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go to the little clubs all around the country, and they work their set for a year before it gets to the main stage. So yeah, it's pretty much that same concept on a smaller scale.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But it's like, hey, regardless the size of the scale, you're making an impact. That's what's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Something my speakers coach always said. He says a speaker is always speaking. Like it's not just when you get on the stage. Like
Mm.
you're always communicating, and as a speaker, you have to be mindful of what how you're saying is being received. He says it's not what the speaker think they said, but it's what the listener believes they heard.
Mm.
And that's something as a speaker that you constantly have to be working on and be mindful of.
Wow. Some responsibility.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's like you got it. You can handle it.
Yeah, I can handle it. I can handle it. No pressure here.
Yeah. Awesome. And I guess where can people follow you, and where will they be able to see your speech once you get all the details and things worked out?
Um, you could definitely see it on my Instagram at Brenon_speaks. Um, you'll also be able to find it on my TikTok. My TikTok handle is earn, keep, multiply,
Mm.
all one word. That's my motto. When it comes to money, you should earn as much as you can, keep as much as you can, and multiply as much as you can.
Mm.
And I'm on YouTube as well, under just under my name, Brenon Robbins, on YouTube. And so for the longer content, it'll go to YouTube. For the shorter clips, it'll be on Instagram and TikTok.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
how have you been finding it, like being on those platforms and like putting up content, tinkering with it, trying to develop in the way that you're wanting to develop?
Um, it's challenging. It can be challenging, of course. And things are always changing.
Mm.
I have been doing pretty good on TikTok as of late. I finally got over the 1,000 follower threshold, so now I can do different things, like go live. So
Mm.
I've been on a couple of panels and different things and joining other people's lives,
Mm.
and that's usually a good way to build your audience.
Congrats.
So yeah, I've been doing that, and so I'm getting ready to kind of start doing my own lives as well to continue building that up. But you know, and it's always a working process. And what
Mm.
I've started to do is I've kind of started to like outsource some of it
Mm.
because it's just too much to do on your own, when it comes to editing and sound and all those different things, when to post.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are things you got to just end up outsourcing if you don't have the time to get the knowledge and really master it. So,
Right.
that's one of the things that I'm doing as well, just outsourcing the things that I don't have time. I may not have time to master it or,
Mm.
understand all the different aspects of it. So I'll just get somebody that knows to do it for me.
Right. I think
Yeah.
that's a great example, kind of going back to where we started, where you did as much as you could on your own to get yourself moving, and then once you realize, okay, something's got to give, you took a time to budget or evaluate what you had going on. It's like, this might be a limit right here. And then let me find somebody else that can help me in this area rather than me just drop everything and be like, forget it. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
I did make some progress. So let me see how I can go further or continue to go in the direction I've been going.
Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with letting the experts take over. Let the experts do what they do. Find somebody that you trust, find somebody that has a similar mindset and fresh and new ideas and let them do their thing. The same way you do with your health, you trust the doctor.
Mhm.
So, sometimes you got to do the same thing when it comes to your finances and business and, things like that as well.
Yeah. But don't be afraid to take a little bit of autonomy for yourself. We can still walk, we can still eat right, and those types of things.
Absolutely.
But it helps
Yeah.
to have that guidance of like a nutritionist, a doctor, check your blood
Yeah.
work. It's like you don't need to go like start a whole blood lab yourself just to get your
Right.
blood checked.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure doing this again, and look forward to seeing your progress and continuing to see the impact that you make on the world.
I appreciate it, man. Good luck with everything. Keep doing what you do. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome.
All right. Have a good one.